The Arctic, once a silent frozen wilderness, now becoming the most valuable frontier on Earth. Deep beneath this frozen ocean lie trillions of dollars in oil, gas, and rare minerals. Leading the race is Russia. Following closely behind is the presence of China, and the United States joins the race, all racing toward the same frozen prize. A new global highway is opening across the entire Arctic Ocean. But deep beneath the ice, a silent military race has already begun. The Arctic is changing faster than any region on Earth. Control the Arctic today, and you control one of the most powerful regions on the planet. The Arctic race has begun, and the world is watching. The race for the Arctic is on, and the world is watching closely. For centuries, the Arctic remained one of the most mysterious regions on Earth, a frozen ocean surrounded by hostile landscapes. But as global temperatures rise, the ice that once protected this region is disappearing faster than scientists predicted. Each summer, the ice melts further than the year before, and beneath that retreating ice lies a treasure that could reshape the global economy. Oil fields larger than anything previously discovered, natural gas reserves powerful enough to fuel entire continents. The Arctic is the next global resource battlefield. For decades, scientists warned that climate change would transform the Arctic. Now that transformation is happening in real time. Ice that once blocked ships for most of the year is beginning to vanish. Entire stretches of Arctic Ocean now remain open for weeks. These newly opened waters are attracting global attention because they reveal something that once seemed impossible: a new international highway across the top of the world. And whoever controls these routes could reshape global shipping forever. Traditional global shipping routes are long and expensive. Cargo traveling from Asia to Europe must pass through the crowded Suez Canal. But the Arctic offers a dramatic shortcut, a route that could reduce travel distances by thousands of kilometers. For shipping companies, this means faster deliveries and lower costs. For nations, it means strategic economic power. Ports that were once quiet polar outposts are now preparing for a new era of global trade. The Arctic is a global transportation corridor. Russia has moved faster than any other nation to dominate the Arctic. Over 40 new military installations have appeared in recent years. Air bases, radar stations, and deep water ports are now scattered across the Russian Arctic frontier. Massive nuclear icebreakers patrol the region. These ships are capable of breaking through ice several meters thick. They escort cargo convoys and enforce Russia's claims. To Moscow, the Arctic is not just an opportunity, it is a strategic shield and economic lifeline. The United States and its allies are watching carefully. For decades, the Arctic was considered a quiet strategic frontier. But that calm is beginning to disappear. Military exercises across the polar region are becoming more frequent every year. NATO forces now conduct specialized Arctic warfare training. Submarines patrol beneath the ice while aircraft monitor the skies. The Arctic may appear peaceful on the surface, but beneath that silence, a powerful geopolitical contest is quietly unfolding. Energy companies have waited decades for this moment. For years, the Arctic's vast resources remained unreachable. But now technology and climate shifts are changing the equation. Advanced drilling platforms can operate in extreme polar conditions. Exploration vessels are mapping the seabed with precision. The Arctic seabed is revealing enormous energy deposits once thought impossible. Every new discovery increases the stakes in this frozen race. Whoever controls these resources could shape the global energy market. According to surveys, the Arctic may hold staggering energy wealth. Over 90 billion barrels of oil may lie beneath these icy waters. Even more remarkable is the vast amount of natural gas trapped beneath the seabed. Nearly a third of undiscovered gas could be here. These resources are valued in the trillions of dollars. For nations facing energy demands, the Arctic represents a strategic jackpot. But the competition to claim these reserves is becoming increasingly intense, and tensions between rival powers are slowly rising. China may be thousands of kilometers away, but Beijing has entered the race. Chinese research vessels now regularly travel here. Officially, these are missions studying climate. But behind the research lies a broader strategy. China has invested heavily in Arctic projects. Beijing views the Arctic as part of its economic network. New shipping routes could connect Chinese ports directly to European markets. This possibility is transforming the Arctic into a global strategic arena, a new center of geopolitical gravity. Greenland has suddenly become one of the most strategically valuable locations. It sits between North America, Europe, and the Arctic. Beneath its frozen terrain lie enormous mineral deposits. Rare earth elements essential for modern technology exist here in large quantities. Global powers understand that whoever influences Greenland could gain enormous advantages. Military installations are expanding. New infrastructure projects are being proposed every year. The quiet Arctic island is now at the center of a growing geopolitical storm. The Arctic is rapidly transforming into a new shipping frontier. As sea ice retreats, maritime routes are opening for longer periods. The Northern Sea route along Russia's coast is already seeing increased traffic. Cargo ships transport goods between Asia and Europe. These journeys can save nearly 2 weeks compared to traditional routes. For global trade, this represents a powerful economic advantage. Ports across the Arctic are expanding to handle demand. Every new ship entering these waters signals the beginning of a new era. As interest grows, military presence is increasing. Nations bordering the region are strengthening their defensive positions. NATO forces have begun specialized Arctic military exercises. These operations prepare troops for combat in extreme polar conditions. Survival requires specialized training. Temperatures can fall far below freezing while violent storms sweep across the landscape. Despite harsh conditions, military activity continues to expand. Control of the Arctic could determine the balance of power ahead. Beneath the frozen Arctic Ocean lies a secretive military arena. Nuclear submarines from major powers patrol these waters silently. Hidden beneath the ice, these vessels can travel undetected for thousands of kilometers. They carry some of the most powerful weapons. For decades, the Arctic has been a strategic corridor for submarine operations. Today, these patrols are becoming more significant. The quiet depths of the polar ocean are part of a global security network. Very few people ever see what happens beneath the ice. While nations compete, the Arctic itself is changing rapidly. Glaciers are retreating at alarming rates. Sea ice is shrinking each year. Scientists are racing to understand these transformations. The Arctic plays a crucial role in regulating the planet's climate system. Changes here affect weather patterns across the world. Yet even as researchers warn of risks, the race for Arctic wealth continues. Economic ambition is moving faster than environmental caution. The frozen frontier is becoming a center of global interest. To manage tensions, Arctic nations establish diplomatic frameworks. The Arctic Council was created to promote peaceful collaboration. Representatives from multiple countries meet to discuss protection and development. They attempt to balance opportunity with stability. But behind the scenes, strategic competition continues to intensify. Every nation understands the value hidden beneath Arctic ice. Diplomatic agreements can only go so far when trillions are at stake. the fragile balance of cooperation may not last forever. The Arctic is no longer an isolated wilderness. Beneath its surface lies an immense concentration of energy, minerals, and routes. Powerful nations are positioning themselves to control this frontier. Military forces and energy companies are preparing for the future. Shipping companies are planning new routes across these waters. What was once silent is becoming one of the most contested regions on Earth. The race for Arctic dominance is only just beginning. The frozen frontier has awakened, and the world is watching. Russia has moved faster than any other nation to dominate the Arctic frontier. Across the northern coastline, abandoned Soviet bases are being rebuilt and expanded. New military installations now stretch across thousands of kilometers of Arctic territory. Advanced radar systems monitor airspace above the polar region. Runways capable of supporting heavy military aircraft have been constructed on remote islands. Nuclear-powered icebreakers patrol frozen sea routes throughout the year. These developments signal a clear strategic objective. Russia intends to secure its influence across the Arctic before any rival power can challenge it. The United States and NATO allies have begun increasing their presence in the Arctic as well. Military planners recognize that the polar region holds enormous strategic importance. Exercises designed specifically for Arctic warfare are now conducted regularly. Troops trained to survive and operate in extreme polar conditions. Aircraft patrol the skies above northern territories, while surveillance systems monitor activity below. Defense analysts believe the Arctic may become one of the most important strategic theaters of the 21st century. Control of polar airspace and sea routes could influence global security dynamics, and NATO is determined not to fall behind. China has also entered the Arctic race with growing ambition. Although it has no Arctic coastline, Beijing considers the region strategically important. Chinese leaders refer to the country as a near-Arctic state. Scientific expeditions have become increasingly frequent in polar waters. Research stations and icebreaking ships are expanding China's presence in the region. But these scientific missions also serve another purpose. They provide valuable data about shipping routes and natural resources. China is quietly positioning itself within the emerging Arctic economy. Global shipping companies are watching these developments closely. The Arctic offers the possibility of dramatically shorter trade routes between continents. Ships traveling from Asia to Europe could cut thousands of kilometers from their journey. This would reduce fuel costs and delivery times across global supply chains. Ports along Arctic coastlines are preparing for increased maritime traffic. Governments are investing billions in new infrastructure projects. If these routes become reliable year-round, global trade patterns could shift dramatically, and the Arctic could become one of the world's most important shipping corridors. Greenland has suddenly become one of the most strategically valuable territories in the Arctic. The island sits between North America and Europe at a critical geographic location. Beneath its frozen terrain lie enormous deposits of rare earth minerals. These elements are essential for modern technologies, including smartphones and renewable energy systems. Several nations have shown increasing interest in Greenland's economic potential. New infrastructure projects and exploration missions are expanding rapidly. Control over these resources could influence future technological industries, and that possibility is drawing global attention toward the island. Energy companies across the world are preparing for one of the most challenging extraction projects ever attempted. Operating in the Arctic requires advanced technology capable of surviving extreme cold and shifting ice. Massive offshore platforms must withstand violent storms and freezing temperatures. Exploration vessels map the seabed using sophisticated scanning systems. Every operation here demands precision and enormous investment. Yet the potential rewards continue to attract global interest. The Arctic seabed may contain enough energy resources to power major economies for decades, and that promise is accelerating the race for control. But the Arctic is governed by a complex system of international laws. Countries must prove their territorial claims through scientific evidence. These claims often depend on the geological structure of the ocean floor. Nations submit detailed data to support their ownership rights over underwater territories. However, many of these claims overlap with those of rival countries. Diplomatic negotiations attempt to resolve these disputes peacefully, yet behind closed doors, competition for Arctic territory continues to intensify. because the resources beneath the seabed are simply too valuable to ignore. Russia currently operates the world's largest fleet of nuclear-powered icebreakers. These powerful ships are capable of breaking through ice several meters thick. They escort commercial vessels along the northern sea route. This shipping corridor runs along Russia's vast Arctic coastline. By controlling this route, Russia gains enormous influence over Arctic trade. Cargo ships traveling between Europe and Asia often rely on Russian icebreaker support. This strategic advantage strengthens Moscow's position in the polar region, and it reinforces Russia's ambition to dominate Arctic shipping. Airspace above the Arctic is becoming increasingly important for global security. The region provides the shortest route between North America, Europe, and Asia. Missile trajectories often pass directly across polar skies. For this reason, early warning radar systems are positioned across northern territories. These installations monitor aircraft and missile activity across vast distances. Military aircraft conduct regular patrols across the Arctic frontier. The skies above the polar region have become a strategic observation zone, and maintaining control of that airspace is critically important. Operating in the Arctic requires specialized training and equipment. Extreme cold can disable machinery and threaten human survival. Military units assigned to Arctic missions undergo intense preparation. They train to operate vehicles designed for snow and ice. Special clothing and survival techniques are essential in these conditions. Exercises simulate real combat scenarios in polar environments. Nations understand that controlling the Arctic may require a strong military presence, and preparation for that possibility has already begun. Nature remains the most powerful force in the Arctic. Violent storms can appear suddenly across the polar ocean. High winds and massive waves threaten ships operating in icy waters. Freezing temperatures place constant stress on equipment and infrastructure. Despite technological advances, the Arctic environment remains unpredictable. Every expedition into these waters carries significant risk. Yet economic opportunity continues to drive exploration forward. Human ambition is pushing deeper into one of the harshest environments on Earth. Climate change is transforming the Arctic faster than any other region on Earth. Glaciers are retreating and sea ice is shrinking rapidly. These changes are opening areas of ocean that were once permanently frozen. While this transformation creates new economic opportunities, it also raises serious concerns. The Arctic ecosystem is extremely fragile. Wildlife habitats are already being disrupted by changing ice conditions. Scientists warn that these environmental changes could affect the entire planet. The Arctic is both a warning signal and a geopolitical opportunity. Natural gas is becoming one of the most valuable Arctic resources. Several large-scale LNG projects are already operating in northern regions. These facilities process natural gas extracted from Arctic fields. The gas is then liquefied and transported to markets around the world. Demand for energy continues to grow across global economies. Arctic gas reserves could help meet that demand in the future. Energy companies are investing billions into polar infrastructure, and the Arctic is slowly emerging as a major energy supplier. Beyond oil and gas, the Arctic also holds enormous mineral wealth. Rare earth elements essential for modern technology may exist in significant quantities here. These minerals power everything from smartphones to electric vehicles. Global demand for rare earth elements is increasing rapidly. Nations that control these resources could gain major technological advantages. Exploration teams are studying Arctic geology in search of new deposits. Each discovery adds another layer to the Arctic resource race, and competition for these minerals may soon intensify. Shipping companies are beginning to test the future of Arctic trade routes. More vessels are navigating these waters each year. Icebreaker escorts help ships pass through difficult sea conditions. The possibility of faster trade routes is attracting international attention. If Arctic shipping becomes reliable year-round, global logistics could change dramatically. Ports across the region are expanding in preparation. The frozen ocean is slowly becoming a new highway for world commerce, and the economic implications are enormous. Beneath the Arctic Ocean lies a hidden world of strategic naval operations. Submarines patrol these waters carrying powerful weapon systems. The thick polar ice provides natural concealment for underwater missions. From these hidden positions, submarines can monitor activity across vast distances. The Arctic has long served as a silent corridor for naval strategy. As geopolitical tensions increase, these operations become more significant. Very little of this activity is ever visible to the public, but beneath the ice, a quiet military presence continues. Advanced surveillance systems now cover much of the Arctic region. These installations monitor aircraft and missile activity across polar skies. Radar networks provide early warning against potential threats. They are essential components of modern defense strategies. Because the Arctic lies between several major military powers, control of this region offers both strategic advantages and defensive protection. As tensions grow, surveillance systems continue to expand. The Arctic has become a critical observation zone for global security. Transporting Arctic energy requires enormous infrastructure systems. Pipelines must cross unstable permafrost and remote landscapes. These projects require advanced engineering and constant maintenance. Temperatures can fall far below freezing, challenging even the strongest materials. Despite these difficulties, governments continue investing in Arctic energy infrastructure. The long-term value of these resources justifies the massive cost. Each pipeline extends the reach of the Arctic energy network, and it brings the region closer to full industrial development. Scientific research remains essential to understanding the Arctic's transformation. Researchers track changes in ice thickness, ocean currents, and atmospheric patterns. These studies provide critical insights into global climate systems, but they also reveal new geographic and geological information. Every expedition improves our understanding of the polar environment. Scientists are racing to gather data before the Arctic changes further. Their discoveries may influence both environmental policy and economic development. Knowledge is becoming one of the most valuable resources in the Arctic. The Arctic is entering a new era of global attention. Powerful nations are expanding their presence across this frozen frontier. Economic ambition and geopolitical strategy are shaping the region's future. Energy companies search for resources hidden beneath the seabed. Shipping companies test new trade routes across polar waters. Military forces prepare for strategic competition in the north. The Arctic is no longer isolated from world affairs. It is becoming one of the most important arenas of global power. Across the Arctic coastline, new ports are rising from once isolated landscapes. These facilities are designed to support the growing traffic of ships moving through polar waters. Massive cranes and industrial infrastructure now dominate areas that were once untouched by modern industry. Governments see these ports as critical gateways to Arctic trade. As shipping routes expand, these locations could become major hubs of international commerce. The transformation is happening faster than many experts expected. What was once an empty coastline is becoming a network of strategic maritime centers, and each new port strengthens the Arctic's economic importance. Infrastructure development is accelerating across the Arctic region. Roads, airstrips, and communication networks are expanding into remote territories. These projects are designed to support energy exploration and shipping operations. Building in the Arctic presents enormous engineering challenges. Permafrost landscapes shift constantly as temperatures change. Structures must be designed to withstand extreme cold and unstable terrain. Despite these difficulties, governments continue investing billions into northern infrastructure. The Arctic frontier is being transformed into a connected industrial region, continues to intensify. The race for Arctic resources is also unfolding through diplomacy. International law governs territorial claims across the polar region. Countries must provide scientific evidence proving ownership of seabed areas. Many of these claims overlap with those submitted by other nations. Negotiations attempt to resolve disputes peacefully. However, the economic stakes involved are enormous. Trillions of dollars in potential resources lie beneath these waters, and that reality continues to complicate diplomatic efforts. Scientific research remains essential to understanding the Arctic's future. Researchers study ocean currents, ice thickness, and climate patterns. Their work helps scientists predict how the region will change over time. These studies are also important for safe navigation and resource exploration. Data collected in the Arctic influences environmental policies around the world. Scientists are racing to gather information before conditions change further. The knowledge gained here could shape future decisions about Arctic development, and it may determine how humanity manages this fragile environment. The Arctic is also rich in valuable minerals critical to modern technology. Rare earth elements are essential components of electronics and renewable energy systems. These minerals power electric vehicles, wind turbines, and advanced electronics. Global demand for rare earth materials continues to grow rapidly. Exploration teams believe Arctic regions may contain significant deposits. Mining companies are studying geological formations across northern territories. Each discovery could reshape global supply chains for critical materials. And that possibility adds another dimension to the Arctic resource race. Despite the economic promise, the Arctic remains an extremely hostile environment. Powerful storms can form quickly across the polar ocean. Massive waves crash against ships navigating narrow ice channels. Freezing temperatures challenge both machinery and human endurance. Every expedition into Arctic waters carries serious risks. Even advanced ships must respect the power of polar weather systems. These dangers remind explorers that the Arctic is still a wild frontier, and nature continues to dominate this frozen world. The Arctic environment is undergoing dramatic transformation. Sea ice that once remained stable throughout the year is shrinking rapidly. Entire regions of the ocean are becoming navigable for longer periods. These changes create opportunities for shipping and resource extraction, but they also raise serious environmental concerns. The Arctic ecosystem supports unique wildlife and delicate habitats. Scientists warn that continued warming could disrupt these fragile systems. The future of the Arctic depends on balancing development with preservation. Energy exploration continues to expand across the Arctic frontier. Companies are investing billions in advanced drilling technology. New exploration ships search for untapped oil and gas reserves. The resources beneath the seabed could transform global energy markets. Yet extraction in these conditions remains extremely difficult. Equipment must operate reliably in extreme cold and shifting ice. Despite these challenges, exploration efforts continue to grow. The promise of Arctic energy remains too valuable to ignore. Global trade networks are beginning to adapt to Arctic possibilities. Shipping companies are experimenting with new polar routes. These journeys can reduce travel time between continents. Faster delivery could reshape global supply chains. Ports across the Arctic are expanding to handle future demand. Nations hope to position themselves along these emerging trade corridors. The once remote polar ocean may soon become a critical shipping highway. And the economic impact could be enormous. Air power is becoming increasingly important in the Arctic. Military aircraft patrol vast polar airspace. These patrols monitor activity across remote northern territories. Strategic air bases provide rapid response capabilities. Control of Arctic airspace could influence global security dynamics. Aircraft can reach multiple continents quickly from polar locations. Defense planners view the Arctic as a strategic crossroads, and air operations are expanding to secure this advantage. The natural beauty of the Arctic hides a deeper transformation. Glaciers that once dominated the landscape are retreating rapidly. These changes are opening new areas of ocean and coastline. While economic opportunities expand, environmental risks increase. Scientists warn that Arctic warming could influence global climate systems. Weather patterns across the planet may be affected by these changes. Understanding the Arctic has never been more important. Its future will impact the entire world. Energy infrastructure is expanding deeper into Arctic territory. Pipelines transport oil and gas across vast frozen landscapes. Maintaining these systems requires constant monitoring and engineering expertise. Extreme cold places enormous stress on materials and equipment, yet governments continue investing heavily in these projects. The long-term value of Arctic energy justifies the immense cost. Each pipeline represents another step toward full industrial development. The Arctic is gradually becoming part of the global energy network. The Arctic is no longer isolated from global politics. Powerful nations are expanding their influence across this frozen frontier. Economic ambition and geopolitical strategy are shaping the region's future. Energy companies search for resources hidden beneath the seabed. Shipping companies test new routes across polar waters. Military forces prepare for strategic competition in the north. The Arctic is becoming a stage for economic ambition and geopolitical strategy. Decisions made here could shape global power for decades, and the race for control is far from over. The global powers have now entered the Arctic race. Economic ambition, military strategy, and environmental change are converging in the far north. The frozen frontier is transforming into one of the most important regions on Earth. Resources worth trillions of dollars remain hidden beneath the ice. Nations are positioning themselves to control this emerging world. But as competition intensifies, tensions continue to rise. The next phase of the Arctic race could become far more dangerous, and the world is watching closely. The Arctic race is no longer only about resources. It is becoming a test of global power and military influence. Russia has dramatically expanded its naval presence across the Arctic frontier. New bases now support warships, submarines, and long-range aircraft. These installations allow rapid response across thousands of kilometers of polar territory. Military planners view the Arctic as a strategic shield protecting Russia's northern borders. But they also see it as a forward position for projecting power, and that growing presence is being watched closely by rival nations. Beneath the Arctic ice lies one of the most secretive military arenas on Earth. Nuclear submarines from multiple countries patrol silently through these waters. The thick ice provides natural concealment for underwater operations. From hidden positions, submarines can move across vast distances undetected. For decades, the Arctic served as a silent corridor for strategic naval forces. But now these patrols are becoming more frequent. Each nation seeks to maintain a strategic advantage beneath the ice, and the quiet depths of the Arctic Ocean are becoming increasingly crowded. NATO forces have begun expanding Arctic military exercises. These operations simulate potential conflicts in polar environments. Soldiers train to survive extreme cold and navigate frozen landscapes. Specialized vehicles and equipment are required for Arctic warfare. Military strategists believe future conflicts may involve control of polar territories. Training in these conditions ensures readiness for unexpected scenarios. Each exercise strengthens the alliance's ability to operate in the north, and it sends a clear signal that the Arctic is strategically important. Control of Arctic airspace is becoming a priority for military planners. Fighter jets regularly patrol northern skies. Air bases across Arctic territories are being upgraded to support advanced aircraft. These bases allow rapid response across remote regions. Aircraft operating from polar locations can reach several continents quickly. Strategists recognize that the Arctic lies between major world powers. Maintaining air superiority in this region is considered essential, and military aviation activity continues to increase. Surveillance systems across the Arctic are expanding rapidly. Radar installations monitor aircraft and missile activity across polar skies, because the shortest path between major powers often crosses the Arctic. Early warning systems are essential for national defense strategies. These radar networks can detect threats thousands of kilometers away. Military commanders rely on them to maintain situational awareness. As tensions rise, surveillance capabilities continue to improve. The Arctic has become a critical observation zone for global security. Naval forces are becoming more active across Arctic waters. Warships from several countries now conduct patrols in the region. These operations protect shipping routes and monitor rival activity. Icebreakers allow naval vessels to navigate difficult sea conditions. Maintaining a naval presence ensures strategic influence in polar waters. Control of Arctic sea lanes could become critically important in future conflicts. Military fleets are preparing for long-term operations in the region, and the Arctic Ocean is slowly becoming a contested maritime zone. Energy exploration continues despite rising geopolitical tensions. Oil and gas companies are determined to develop Arctic resources. These projects represent billions of dollars in potential profit. Energy demand across the world continues to grow. Access to Arctic reserves could reshape global energy markets. However, the presence of military forces adds a new layer of risk. Economic development and strategic competition are unfolding side by side, and the balance between them remains fragile. Shipping companies continue exploring the Arctic's new trade routes. These corridors could transform global logistics networks. Shorter travel distances reduce fuel costs and delivery times. However, navigating these waters still requires powerful icebreakers. Nations controlling these routes could gain major economic advantages. Maritime traffic is slowly increasing each year. The Arctic Ocean may soon become an important global shipping highway, and strategic control of these lanes will matter greatly. Military logistics are becoming increasingly important in the Arctic. Operating in such remote environments requires a constant flow of supplies and equipment. Air transport provides the fastest connection between distant Arctic bases. Cargo aircraft deliver fuel, vehicles, and essential materials across the frozen frontier. Convoys of trucks move slowly across ice roads, linking isolated installations. Each supply mission strengthens the military presence in the region. Maintaining operational readiness in the Arctic is both complex and expensive. Yet nations continue expanding their logistical networks across the polar landscape. Air defense systems are another crucial component of Arctic security. Radar installations scan the skies for aircraft and potential missile threats. These systems form part of a larger global early warning network. Military commanders rely on them to detect activity across vast distances, because the Arctic provides the shortest flight path between major powers. Missile defense infrastructure therefore plays a critical strategic role. New systems are being deployed to improve monitoring capabilities. The Arctic is becoming one of the world's most important defensive frontiers. Naval patrols across the Arctic Ocean are becoming more frequent. Warships now operate alongside icebreakers to maintain access through frozen waters. These patrols monitor shipping routes and protect national interests. Naval commanders track the movements of rival vessels across the region. Maintaining maritime presence ensures strategic influence over Arctic sea lanes. Control of these waters could become critical during future geopolitical crises. Each patrol reinforces national claims and military readiness. The once quiet Arctic Ocean is slowly turning into a strategic maritime arena. While geopolitical competition grows, the Arctic itself continues to change. Glaciers are retreating faster than scientists once predicted. Rising global temperatures are transforming the polar landscape. Entire regions of ocean that were once frozen year-round are now opening. These environmental shifts create new economic opportunities, but they also threaten delicate Arctic ecosystems. Researchers warn that changes in the polar climate could influence weather patterns worldwide. The future of the Arctic carries consequences far beyond the region itself. Energy exploration remains a central driver of Arctic activity. Companies continue searching for new oil and gas deposits beneath the seabed. These operations require advanced technology designed for extreme polar conditions. Drilling platforms must operate reliably despite storms and freezing temperatures. The financial investment required for Arctic energy development is enormous, yet the potential rewards remain even greater. Energy companies believe the Arctic could supply global markets for decades, and competition for these resources is intensifying. Shipping routes across the Arctic are gaining increasing global attention. These polar corridors offer a potential shortcut between major trading regions. Cargo vessels traveling between Asia and Europe could save valuable time and fuel. However, navigating these waters still requires powerful icebreaker support. Infrastructure development along the Arctic coastline is expanding rapidly. Ports are being upgraded to handle growing maritime traffic. If these routes become reliable year-round, global trade patterns may shift dramatically, and control of Arctic shipping lanes could become a major strategic advantage. Surveillance technology is expanding across the Arctic frontier. Radar systems monitor activity in both the air and sea. These installations allow nations to detect aircraft, ships, and missile launches. Advanced sensors provide real-time information across vast polar distances. Maintaining situational awareness is essential in such a strategic region. Defense planners rely heavily on these systems to monitor rival movements. As Arctic competition grows, surveillance capabilities continue to improve. Information has become a powerful strategic asset in the polar race. The Arctic is not only valuable for energy resources, it may also contain large deposits of critical minerals. Rare earth elements are essential for modern technologies and renewable energy systems. These materials power electronics, electric vehicles, and advanced manufacturing. Global demand for rare earth elements continues to rise. Nations that control these resources could gain major economic advantages. Exploration efforts across the Arctic are expanding rapidly. Each discovery increases the strategic value of the region. Military mobility is essential in the Arctic's harsh terrain. Armored vehicles designed for snow and ice transport troops across frozen landscapes. Convoys move slowly but steadily through remote polar regions. Helicopters provide aerial support and reconnaissance during operations. These movements demonstrate a nation's ability to project power across Arctic territory. Maintaining mobility in extreme environments is a strategic advantage. Military planners continue developing vehicles and tactics suited for polar conditions. The Arctic battlefield requires entirely new strategies. The Arctic race has entered its most serious phase. Military fleets from several powerful nations now patrol these frozen waters. What was once an isolated ocean has become a strategic maritime frontier. Naval commanders carefully monitor the movements of rival ships. Each patrol sends a clear message of national presence and strength. The competition for Arctic control is no longer theoretical. It is unfolding in real time across the polar seas, and tensions continue to rise with every passing year. Air power has become another critical element of Arctic strategy. Fighter aircraft patrol vast stretches of polar airspace. Air bases across the Arctic are being upgraded to support advanced military jets. These aircraft provide rapid response capabilities in the remote north. Military planners understand the importance of controlling polar skies. Aircraft launched from Arctic bases can reach multiple continents quickly. Air superiority may determine the outcome of any future conflict in the region, and nations are investing heavily to secure that advantage. Beneath the Arctic ice, an invisible strategic contest continues. Nuclear submarines patrol silently through the dark polar depths. These vessels carry some of the most powerful weapons ever created. Their movements remain highly secretive and closely monitored. The Arctic provides a natural corridor for submarine operations. From beneath the ice, these vessels can travel undetected for long distances. The underwater dimension of the Arctic race is rarely seen by the public, but it plays a crucial role in global security. While military activity grows, economic development continues. Energy companies remain focused on Arctic oil and gas reserves. These resources could transform global energy markets. However, extracting them requires operating in one of Earth's harshest environments. Extreme cold and powerful storms challenge every operation, yet the potential rewards remain enormous. Trillions of dollars in resources are believed to lie beneath the seabed, and that wealth continues to drive global competition. Arctic shipping routes are gradually becoming part of global trade networks. Cargo vessels now navigate these waters during longer seasonal windows. Icebreakers guide ships safely through drifting sea ice. These routes can dramatically shorten travel distances between continents. Faster shipping could transform global supply chains. Ports along Arctic coastlines are expanding to support future traffic. The once isolated polar ocean may soon become a global shipping corridor, and control of these routes will carry enormous economic value. At the same time, the Arctic environment continues to transform rapidly. Rising global temperatures are melting glaciers and shrinking sea ice. These changes open new opportunities for exploration and shipping, but they also threaten fragile Arctic ecosystems. Wildlife habitats depend heavily on stable ice conditions. Scientists warn that continued warming may disrupt the entire polar environment. The Arctic's future will influence the planet's climate systems, and humanity's decisions here will shape the decades ahead. Surveillance systems remain essential for maintaining Arctic security. Radar networks track aircraft and ships across vast polar distances. These systems form part of a global early warning infrastructure. Military commanders rely on them to monitor rival activity. Maintaining awareness in such a remote region is critical. Advanced sensors detect potential threats long before they approach national borders. As competition grows, surveillance technology continues to evolve. The Arctic has become one of the world's most closely watched regions. Commercial shipping through the Arctic continues to grow slowly each year. Convoys of cargo ships now test these northern sea routes during warmer months. Icebreaker escorts remain essential for navigating difficult conditions. Each successful journey proves the economic potential of Arctic trade. Shipping companies are watching these developments closely. Shorter travel distances could reshape global logistics. However, reliable year-round navigation remains a challenge. The Arctic shipping future is still being written. Energy infrastructure continues expanding deeper into Arctic territories. Pipelines connect remote oil and gas fields to export terminals. Building and maintaining these systems in polar conditions is extremely difficult. Engineers must design structures capable of surviving extreme cold. Despite these challenges, development continues steadily. The long-term value of Arctic energy remains a powerful incentive. Each new project increases global interest in the region, and the Arctic Energy Network grows stronger every year. The Arctic's mineral wealth is attracting increasing attention. Rare earth elements hidden beneath the tundra are extremely valuable. These materials are essential for modern electronics and renewable energy technology. Nations around the world depend on stable supplies of these resources. New discoveries in the Arctic could transform global supply chains. Mining exploration is expanding across remote polar regions. Each discovery adds another dimension to the Arctic race, and competition for these resources continues to grow. Scientific research remains essential to understanding the Arctic's transformation. Researchers monitor climate patterns, ocean currents, and sea ice thickness. Their discoveries help explain how the Arctic affects the entire planet. The polar region acts as a powerful regulator of Earth's climate system. Changes here can influence weather patterns across continents. Scientists are racing to collect data before conditions change further. Their work may guide future environmental decisions. The Arctic holds critical clues about the future of our planet. Nature continues to dominate the Arctic environment. Violent storms can appear suddenly across the polar ocean. Strong winds and massive waves challenge even the strongest ships. Extreme cold pushes machinery and human endurance to the limit. Operating in the Arctic requires constant respect for nature's power. Every mission here carries risk and uncertainty. Despite technological advances, the Arctic remains unpredictable. It is still one of Earth's last true wilderness frontiers. Military activity across the Arctic continues to expand. Aircraft patrol vast polar airspace every day. These missions monitor rival movements across remote territories. Air bases across the region support advanced fighter jets and surveillance aircraft. Military planners view the Arctic as a critical strategic frontier. Control of polar airspace could influence global security dynamics. As tensions rise, air patrols are becoming more frequent. The Arctic sky is no longer empty. Naval forces are also strengthening their Arctic presence. Warships patrol sea lanes and monitor maritime activity. Icebreakers escort these fleets through difficult polar waters. Maintaining naval presence ensures strategic influence in the region. Control of Arctic sea routes could become critical in future conflicts. Naval commanders carefully track rival ship movements. The frozen ocean is gradually becoming a contested maritime zone, and strategic competition continues to intensify. Despite the growing geopolitical tension, the Arctic remains a place of extraordinary natural beauty. Towering glaciers and endless ice fields stretch across the polar horizon. But beneath this beauty lies a fragile ecosystem. Climate change is transforming the Arctic faster than any other region on Earth. Scientists warn that continued warming could accelerate global climate changes. The Arctic's future will affect weather patterns across the entire planet. Protecting this environment may become one of humanity's greatest challenges. The balance between development and preservation remains uncertain. Arctic shipping is slowly entering a new phase of global importance. Each year, more vessels attempt to navigate the northern sea routes. These journeys demonstrate how rapidly the polar region is changing. Shorter travel distances could reshape global trade networks. However, the Arctic still presents enormous navigational challenges. Ice conditions can shift quickly and unpredictably. Shipping companies continue studying the risks and opportunities. The future of Arctic trade remains one of the most important economic questions of the century. Energy production is becoming one of the most visible industries in the Arctic. Oil and gas facilities now operate in some of the harshest environments on Earth. These projects require enormous engineering expertise and financial investment. Advanced technology allows drilling operations to function in extreme cold. However, the environmental risks remain a constant concern. Oil spills or accidents could have devastating consequences for fragile ecosystems. Balancing energy development with environmental protection remains a major challenge. The Arctic's resources come with enormous responsibility. The Arctic's mineral resources are drawing increasing global interest. Rare earth elements hidden within Arctic rock formations are extremely valuable. These materials power modern electronics and renewable energy technologies. Countries around the world rely on stable supplies of these minerals. Exploration teams are searching remote landscapes for new deposits. Each discovery could influence future technological industries. The Arctic may hold one of the world's largest untapped mineral reserves, and that possibility is fueling intense competition. Scientific missions remain essential for understanding the Arctic's transformation. Researchers monitor sea ice, ocean currents, and atmospheric conditions. Their work reveals how quickly the polar climate is changing. The Arctic plays a critical role in regulating Earth's climate systems. Changes here influence weather patterns around the globe. Scientists are racing to gather data before further transformation occurs. Their discoveries will guide future environmental decisions. Understanding the Arctic may determine how humanity responds to climate change. The Arctic environment is changing faster than scientists once predicted. Glaciers are retreating and sea ice continues to thin. These transformations open new opportunities for exploration, but they also threaten delicate Arctic ecosystems. Wildlife species depend heavily on stable ice conditions. Scientists warn that continued warming could disrupt the entire polar environment. The Arctic has become a powerful indicator of global climate change. Its transformation is a signal that the planet itself is changing. Naval forces remain one of the most visible symbols of Arctic competition. Warships patrol sea lanes and monitor strategic activity. Icebreakers ensure that fleets can move through difficult conditions. Each patrol reinforces national presence in the region. Military planners view the Arctic as a strategic frontier. Control of polar waters could influence future global conflicts. Naval activity across the Arctic continues to increase. The frozen ocean is becoming a strategic maritime zone. Air power is another key element of Arctic strategy. Fighter jets patrol the skies across northern territories. Air bases provide rapid response capability in remote regions. Aircraft launched from polar bases can reach multiple continents quickly. Military planners recognize the importance of Arctic airspace. Control of these skies could influence global security dynamics. Air patrols across the region continue to increase. The Arctic sky has become a strategic corridor. Surveillance technology now covers much of the Arctic region. Radar installations monitor aircraft and missile activity across polar skies. These systems provide early warning for national defense networks. Maintaining awareness in such a remote region is essential. Sensors detect movement across vast polar distances. Military commanders rely on this information to track potential threats. As geopolitical competition grows, surveillance capabilities expand. The Arctic has become one of the most closely watched regions on Earth. Military mobility across Arctic terrain requires specialized equipment. Convoys of vehicles move slowly across frozen landscapes. Helicopters provide aerial support and reconnaissance. Establishing bases in extreme conditions demands careful planning. These operations demonstrate the ability to project power across remote regions. Nations are developing tactics designed specifically for polar warfare. Preparation for potential conflict continues quietly. The Arctic battlefield demands entirely new strategies. Arctic shipping routes could transform global trade networks. Cargo ships traveling these corridors reduce travel distances between continents. This advantage could reshape international supply chains. Ports across the Arctic are preparing for increased maritime traffic. Infrastructure investments are growing rapidly across the region. However, reliable navigation still depends on powerful icebreakers. The Arctic trade revolution is only beginning, and its economic consequences could be enormous. Environmental transformation continues to reshape the Arctic. Sea ice coverage is shrinking rapidly each decade. Entire areas of ocean are becoming navigable during summer months. These changes create opportunities for exploration and shipping, but they also threaten fragile ecosystems. Scientists warn that the Arctic climate is approaching a critical tipping point. What happens here will influence the entire planet. The future of the Arctic is deeply connected to the future of Earth. Commercial shipping across the Arctic continues to expand cautiously. Cargo vessels are testing the northern sea routes during longer ice-free seasons. Each voyage proves that the Arctic is becoming more accessible. Shorter travel distances between Asia, Europe, and North America offer huge economic advantages. Shipping companies see enormous potential in these polar corridors. However, navigation through Arctic waters still carries significant risk. Unpredictable ice movement can quickly change sea conditions. The future of global trade may depend on how safely these routes can be developed. Energy companies continue expanding exploration across Arctic waters. Oil platforms and drilling vessels operate in some of the harshest environments on Earth. These projects require advanced engineering and enormous financial investment. The potential rewards remain extraordinary. Arctic oil and gas reserves could influence global energy markets for decades. However, environmental risks remain a constant concern. Protecting fragile polar ecosystems is essential. The future of Arctic energy development remains a subject of global debate. Mineral exploration is opening another chapter in the Arctic race. Rare earth elements hidden beneath the frozen terrain are extremely valuable. These materials power modern electronics and renewable energy technology. Demand for these resources continues to grow worldwide. Exploration teams are searching remote landscapes for new deposits. Each discovery increases the strategic importance of the Arctic. Control of these minerals could influence future technological industries, and competition for these resources is intensifying. Scientific research continues to reveal how quickly the Arctic is changing. Researchers study sea ice thickness, ocean currents, and atmospheric patterns. Their discoveries help explain how the Arctic affects the global climate system. The region acts as an early warning signal for environmental change. Scientists are racing to gather data before conditions shift further. Their findings may shape international environmental policies. Understanding the Arctic is essential for protecting the planet's future. Knowledge gathered here affects the entire world. Naval forces continue strengthening their Arctic presence. Warships patrol sea routes and monitor rival activity. Icebreakers ensure fleets can move safely through frozen waters. Each deployment demonstrates national influence across the polar region. Military planners consider the Arctic a vital strategic frontier. Control of these sea lanes could shape future geopolitical conflicts. The once quiet polar ocean is becoming increasingly active, and naval operations continue expanding. Air power plays an important role in Arctic security strategy. Fighter aircraft patrol the skies above northern territories. Air bases provide rapid response capabilities in remote regions. Aircraft launched from these bases can reach multiple continents quickly. Military planners recognize the strategic importance of Arctic airspace. Maintaining control of the skies is essential for national defense. Air patrol missions are increasing across the region. The Arctic sky has become a strategic military corridor. Advanced surveillance systems now monitor activity across the Arctic. Radar installations track aircraft and missile movements across polar skies. These systems are part of global defense networks. Maintaining situational awareness is essential in such a strategic region. Sensors detect potential threats thousands of kilometers away. Military commanders rely on this information to track potential threats. As competition grows, surveillance technology continues to expand. The Arctic is one of the most closely watched regions on Earth. The Arctic has become one of the most important geopolitical regions on the planet. Economic opportunity and strategic competition are unfolding simultaneously. Energy companies search for resources beneath the ice. Shipping companies prepare for new trade routes across polar waters. Military forces strengthen their presence across northern territories. The frozen frontier is no longer isolated from global politics. Decisions made here will influence the future of international relations, and the world is watching closely. The Arctic has entered a new era. What was once a remote frozen wilderness has become a global strategic frontier. Resources worth trillions of dollars remain hidden beneath the ice. New shipping routes may reshape global trade networks. Powerful nations are competing for influence across the polar region. Yet the Arctic is also one of the most fragile environments on Earth. Human decisions in this region will shape the future of the planet. The Arctic race has begun, and its outcome will define the century ahead.